This is King Bo Christ, and you're now tuned in to the I Say That to Say This show. Wow, we're live. Welcome. I gotta play see, I'm rusty, so I don't even got my Mace Welcome Back theme song, you know what I'm saying, to kick things off right. But I'm here with Shereen from Queens. What are you going by today? Are you
We could stick to Shereen from Queens. I got a couple of pages.
Okay, Shereen from Queens.
Yeah.
Also, AKA SN Makeup in the building. Live from Las Vegas. Alrighty, we finally got this done. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that we're kicking things off.
Yeah.
Because I had it in my show notes, and this is obviously we've never had this conversation, but you were like one of the first people I followed on Twitter because
awesome.
I forget what was it, like 2010. It was like location based or some weird shit. Right, and I was working out in LA Fitness, and I was like, "Oh, there's someone in Union Turnpike. There you go, bing!" And like, I don't know, years later, like, you see someone on social networks time and time again over the course of years, and it's like, wow. Like, and I was really thinking when I saw you, I was like, I gotta have her on the show. I thought about Twitter, and I'm like, damn, we go way back, like unofficially.
Oh, right.
So, what got you into makeup?
Oh my gosh. I would say my grandmother. My grandmother was a big makeup head when she was younger, even through her, by the time, even when she died, we were still working on her makeup for her. Something that I've always enjoyed doing. I had a love for it. I think it was an Oprah episode when she had Kevin A. Kwan on, who was a brilliant makeup artist. And I was like, oh, this could be a career. Like, I thought this was just a hobby. You did it because you loved it, or you did it for fun. But
Sure.
He was literally living off of being a makeup artist. And I was like, this is it. So I was in school for criminology, which I have a degree in. And I was like, I'm going to work for a couple of brands. I did Estee Lauder. I've done Sephora. I've done Macy's and Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom. And I was working for, what is her name? Some brand. I forget. I can't think of it right now. But the MAC store in Roosevelt Field was around the corner. So I literally would spend all my lunch breaks and my 15-minute breaks in the MAC store. I was like, why don't you just work here? You're always here. And I was like, me? Work at MAC? I could never work at MAC. I was like 21. And she was like, we have an opening coming up. You should just apply. I applied not thinking I would get this job because you needed a portfolio back in the day. There was no Instagram. You needed to have skills to work at MAC. And I was like, I'm not going to get this job. I went, I did the interview. I passed the first test. I came back, did a makeup interview, and they loved it. And I was like, what the hell? I just got a job at MAC.
So this is just out the gate. You were just a natural.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shoot. So my first day at MAC, my first client ever was a bride. And I went to the man, I'm crying. I'm like, y'all can't do this to me. It's my first day. This is a bride. I'm going to mess her up. And they were like, look, welcome to the world. Like, this is how it goes. You in and you out. You got to go do it. And I did her makeup. And I still talk to this bride. And this was 2002.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
I was so scared, and I did it, and I was just like, okay, this is what I want to do. I finished school. I even quit school at one point. I dropped out of school right after 9/11, and I was like, I'm just gonna do makeup. Like, this is all I need to do. And when I got fired from MAC the first go round, I was like, well, what do I do now? Let me go back to school. I had a year left before I dropped out of SUNY Westbury, and I was like, why did I drop out? Like, this was stupid. Finished the year, got my degree, and the day of my graduation, I get a phone call like, hey, you got a passport? And I'm like, yeah, why? What's up? So we have a gig for you. And I'm like, listen to me. I retired from makeup. I'm like 20. I'm like, I retired from makeup. I'm over it. And they were like, oh, it's for Timberland.
Count me in.
The producer? I was like, the producer, they're like, yeah, he's getting married, he's looking for a makeup artist. I said, oh, I'll pack right now, the day of my graduation. Like, it was like every time I tried to walk away from makeup, God literally said to me,
Yeah.
this is what you're supposed to be doing. Would you knock it off already? So I've stuck with it. I mean, it's funny because it's coming full circle as I say this to you. I'm like ready to walk away from it again. The industry is just, it's so bogus and it's so crazy right now. But
I want to get into that because you said something interesting there, and I didn't want to cut you off, but you said back then you used to have a makeup portfolio, and I was like, oh wow, like, huh,
yeah,
like it really.
You had to walk around with a book.
yeah, right, like a binder, like life before Instagram. Yeah. That's crazy.
You walk around with a book. You had to have photos and cards made, and sometimes if you were smart, you could walk around with a kit because you just never knew who would stop you and go, okay, so let me see something. You're like, I don't have a phone. I don't have Instagram.
Work right there on the spot.
Right. Our references were magazines. Like people, when I talk to kids and I'm like, oh, so do you have so-and-so's book? And they're like, who's that? First of all, if I say Kevin A. Kwan book and you don't know who Kevin A. Kwan is, I'm already not talking to you. The conversation's over. And if you're a makeup artist and don't have these books to reference, I don't respect your game. And I've had so many arguments with other makeup artists who are way younger than me, and they're like, oh, we don't need that. It's outdated. And I'm like, no, because everything you're doing, you've already done it. And we've done it 1,000 times. And it's, every fashion goes through it. It's the 60s, it's the 70s, it's the 80s, and it keeps getting repeated different ways, different facets of it. And it's like, you should really know who. It really makes me mad when I hear like a rapper, like these York kids, and they're like, I don't know who Wu-Tang is. And I'm like, how are you a rapper and not know who Wu-Tang is?
Yeah, right. Like no respect for the game.
Who Kevin A. Kwan is. It's depressing because these are the kids that are actually making money and I'm not. So like, I'm ready to just get out of this. I'm ready to get out the game altogether because it's really bad.
So I want to backtrack a little also when you said you had a makeup interview. So did you, so as a makeup interview, like how does that go? Do you go in? Cause I know like zero about makeup. I'm not gonna
That's not a bad thing. The makeup interview usually is broken into two parts. So you have your first one where it's just verbal. They want to get to know you,
like a regular standard interview.
Yeah, just a standard interview. Where have you worked before? Who have you worked with? Did you have like a celeb background? What's your background in makeup period? Did you do theater? And then when you get called back, they have you do makeup. So they'll do a tear out of a magazine, which I guess they do something off of Instagram now. I don't know. But you would get a tear out of a magazine and you would have to replicate this work from this
got you.
huge makeup artist, like back to back. It had to look just like his or her work from this magazine, which sometimes really deciphered how good of an artist you were, because a lot of the time magazines did a really, really, really natural look. And most makeup artists nowadays, and I hate to use that term makeup artist, but a lot of the kids who are doing this stuff don't know how to do natural makeup. It is one of the hardest things to do. If I was to be told I had to do your makeup for what we're doing right now, I could do it. A lot of these kids could not do your face.
Could you put my hairline back? Can you do that? Can you?
Yeah.
You go up
do all of that. I could do all of that. And it's supposed to still look as natural as if you just woke up out of bed. And you're a man. You're not supposed to be super matte. You're not supposed to be super shiny. It's supposed to look as natural as possible. Or it'd be something so intricate where it was like some crazy graphic liner or some crazy perfect bold lip. And it was always red, a red perfect lip. But a lot of these kids can't do that. And I think for me, over the course of the years I worked for MAC for 11 years. I worked for other brands in between. I worked for myself. Little by little, year after year, I'm just like, this is what we're doing. Like we just not gonna, nurture our roots. We're not gonna go back to where we came from. We're not gonna respect who was here first. You don't wanna maybe change the game and do something different. Like even with Rihanna, I love what she did. Funny enough, funny story, I was kind of working on something myself right before she dropped. And we do have mutual friends.
Nice.
So I kind of disappeared off the scene for a little bit, makeup wise, and ran up on the kid, and he was like, where you been? Like, da-da-da. And I'm like, man, I'm kind of working on this line. I'm just tired of seeing certain things or not seeing certain things. And I was like, I'm working with a chemist in LA and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I swear to you, 6 months later, Fenty dropped and I was like,
damn.
I'm never saying another word to another person.
That
on this.
actually, that's insane. So
Go
like
ahead.
you knew, or you felt the need for like I guess more, I don't know, how do I word it? Like the skin tones, or you saw like,
we've been complaining about that in the industry
since Naomi Campbell.
like even before her. Let's say Beverly Johnson. You know what I mean?
Damn, that's crazy.
Like, it's been bad. Like, if you look back
Yeah.
at like even Tyra Banks when she was like a supermodel walking on the runway, from her neck up she's gray always, and it's Tyra Banks. Like, she's got one of the easiest complexions to kind of work with. But models and actresses have always had it bad. When you look at old school movies, I was watching Boomerang the other night, and I was like, yo, why do they do Robin Givens like that? Like, she looked crazy. So I've been backstage at Fashion Week, and I've had to see dark-skinned Black models come in with their own stuff.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's a shame because when you're backstage Fashion Week, the makeup artist is literally walking around with the store on or his back. Like, we are rolling in a store. We got our brushes, we got our tool, we got our skincare. You're supposed to have a fuller range of albino to the darkest. And I've heard makeup artists say, "Oh, I don't have that. I don't. My kid don't go that dark." And it's like, you're not a makeup artist.
No, that's crazy.
I've heard black girls be told like, "Well, sorry, we ain't got it." Like, we're in store. It's not backstage. We're in store, and it's like, how are you a makeup brand and don't have a shade to fit this woman? Like, she's got money. She wants to buy. She wants to look good. And if anybody knows about the Black woman, we shop. We want to look good all the time. We'll sometimes not even pay a bill to go buy hair or get our nails done, or just to make ourselves feel good about, whatever we're going through at the time, or we just want to look good. And be told, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I ain't got it," or we don't make that shade. So
that sounds really crazy to me, especially because Fenty launched in we're just about 1 year, right? Like 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So that sounds crazy to me that even in 2010, that like someone like a person my complexion couldn't walk in and get right. Like, nah, yeah, we know, we just don't do that. Like, that sounds like,
nope. And it's like, if it's weird to explain it to you without showing it to you, but there were brands who, like Mac. I'll stay with Mac. Mac was one of the only companies that was diverse in full range of color. And I've been working with that brand since the early 2000s. By the time I left in 2016, what I noticed that they were trying to get rid of all the darker shades. And I mean, not only in foundation, but like, let's say Tiana Taylor would come in and she would get a certain lip gloss because this lip gloss looks good against her skin. Or Atika Sumter came in and she was getting this one lip gloss or this one shadow or this one blush. Little by little, I kept saying, damn, they just continue in this lip gloss, this lipstick, this blush, and these are all the dark skin girl colors. Like, what's going on? Then I started to see them disappear with the foundation shades. And I remember I had a client, oh my God, in New York. Her skin was so beautiful. She's about maybe 4 shades darker than you. Her skin was just flawless. She would come in, at the end of me leaving New York, we became best friends because she didn't talk to nobody. She would just come in, slam my stuff on the counter, this is what I need, let me get back to work. And by the time I left New York and I was leaving Mac, she was crying to me, like crying, tears, little tears. How could they do this to her? Because she'd been buying this product. And I mean, homegirl was in the store every month. I saw her every month at a certain time. I knew when she was coming in. And I was like, yo, all I could suggest is maybe you call customer service, go to the higher ups of Estee Lauder, because Estee Lauder is the one that owns Mac. Talk to them, write them a letter, let them know, like, us brown girls need our stuff. And then Fenty drops. And I go into Mac later and I'm like, look at this. Y'all brought everything back.
Yeah.
Darker shades now. And what the mistake is that Black people are one undertone. So meaning that everybody's broken up into yellow tones and red tones. And they thought all Black people had red tone to them.
See, that's what I'm saying. You can't think that. I think that's just just disrespect or just blatant, like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause there's no way. Like, nah, I'm not rolling. Like, I'm not rolling with it. No.
You would be shocked to hear even the Black brands like Fashion Fair at one point only thought of us as one tone. And it's like, no. So when Sam Fine took over as Fashion Fair, you saw the full range. And when you look at magazines now and you look at advertisement, you're like, you would never see this 2 years ago, where Lancome is like, oh, we got 40 shades. Lancome was literally just for the Asian woman. Then you got other brands coming out now. So eventually I would hope, I don't know if I want to go back to it, because now I'm just like, well, why would I want to do this? It's being done already, but I may go back and finish what I started. Because I already put the time in a little bit to it. And I was doing something a little different than everybody else. I still had something different. Even the chemist was like, yeah, this is going to work because no one else is thinking this way. So I may go back to it. But it's sad because this is the industry.
And I want to get into makeup sorcery in a minute from great makeup artists like you that can turn water into wine. We're gonna get into that in a moment. But now, so how did you feel? How did you feel when you heard? Well, I don't know. I don't know much about makeup, but I do like keep my eye on like the business aspect of everything. And if I'm not mistaken, Kylie Jenner's makeup line has been around a while, but I think it just took off like last year. Because I know by the time I hear about things, it's already lit. It, like with certain things like that. So how did you feel? Yeah, you shaking your head. So I didn't know how you feel. So for the listeners out there, because I forgot about the listeners, not because you got my attention here. So you shaking your head. So I already know what time it is.
I was really disappointed in the consumer. I have an ex-boyfriend that always tell me, you are the consumer's favorite dream. Like if it comes in purple, red, and black, I need all three. If it comes in like the prettiest packaging, I got to go get it. When Kylie came out, I was like, are we that dumb? This chick didn't have lips last year. And now she's got lips this year, and she's telling you
how to do your lips.
And it's like, no, we don't need lip liner. Why? Because we have an outline. Why? Because we got lips. Don't do this. Don't do this. And then I refuse to look. And I have a couple clients who would have it, and they're like, oh, well, I want to use this instead of my MAC. When I started to hear that, I was like, damn, she's onto something. Because MAC was the ultimate lip. Everybody wanted that.
So it was like the standard, I guess?
Yeah, it became like, oh, I got the Kylie Jenner lip kit. And I'm like, okay. And I tried it, and I was like, this is trash. This is absolute trash. Know anything about
trash from a professional standpoint, or just trash as the consumer, or both?
As a consumer, you can go to Walgreens and get Wet n Wild if you really, if that's what you really want to do. But because it was a name, and because
this doesn't sound good,
we are so driven to get what's being sold on social media now. It was like the brush was trash. The brush was just all over the place. The pencil I thought was too hard. Some of the color range I liked, but the consistency of it was gloopy and messy to me. I just didn't care for the packaging at all. And I was like, this is a ripoff. Yet again, it must have worked, because you have a brand like MAC, who then 2 years ago started their own lip kits. And I was like, we don't need to do this. We're supposed to, like, a brand like MAC was built on, we don't even have to advertise. That's how big we are.
Sure.
We are.
Because I didn't even tell you what MAC was back, whenever. Like, I don't know shit.
MAC has been around since the early 90s. And if not before, because MAC is almost 30 years old. So it's like, you've been around with no advertisement, no commercials, no magazine coverage. And if there was anything in the magazine, it was about Viva Glam, it's for raising money for AIDS awareness. Other than that, there was no need for us to ever have to advertise who we were or what we did. It was like a word by mouth. Everybody just knew it was the best. When MAC sold out, changed their packaging, then got a little cheaper, everybody was just pinching pennies. That's what I thought. That's what I think killed the industry, was just killing pennies. I think at one point MAC owned the manufacturer who was making the plastic for them. They sold out. And the same people who were packaging MAC was packaging Kylie, was packaging another brand called ColourPop, was packaged, and now, holy crap! Like this is just, it's just a game.
So can I ask you, how did Kylie Jenner come out priced? Like, did she come out top tier? Or no, she came out like affordable. Everybody could get it.
Like, she's not Walgreens, but she's not.
What's up with you calling Kylie Jenner Walgreens?
I don't know. And I'm biased. I'm sorry. I really stand Kardashian Jenner clan, and I just think that they are ripping off a lot of people, and I feel really mad. I get upset when I hear the black women like, oh, what is Kylie and what is Kim doing? And I'm like, they trying to be like you, and you busy trying to see what they doing. But she's not, I would say the whole kit's maybe $30. So you get a lip liner, a lipstick, and like a gloss.
And like you just said also though, I noticed that, and we were talking about earlier with those patterns of people not respecting the history. I also noticed like the Kardashian pump fake is to just do some wild shit to have you really your Twitter fingers going, and then it works, but you become consumed in it because like, so they're like, oh, the Kim Kardashian braids, like, you know goddamn well that Kim Kardashian didn't come up with those braids. But I think it's like you talked about, it's like when you don't pay attention to the history of something, like even if you said Bo Derek, you'd be cross, but at least you'd be on to something, like, you know, the Bo Derek braid, whatever. So when I noticed that, like and I don't want to blame the kids, but you know, when people don't respect the history of things, you could come out and you can pump fake a whole society for $300 million, and I'm like, damn, like this strategy, I tell you, this is crazy. So
yep, absolutely,
I think they're, you know, and then that's part of the game. I guess somebody's gonna do it, but to see it happen with actual currency is crazy to me. Like to see the whole family really like just squeeze the consumer in the like I'm like a lip kit. This is some shit. Like you can do like
so she had kits. Chloe went and got her butt done, started selling jeans for shapely women. I was like, y'all buying this? And the jeans are terrible. I never bought them. But I had friends who did, and I was like, I'm mad that you did it. But they were like, well, no, because, you know, we shapely and da-da-da-da-da. And they're like, the jeans are just terrible quality.
We got to bring back apple bottoms and baby fat. No.
Right. You know, we've always had stuff to fit us. Like, we've always had to complain, but they were things that were made for us, not Khloe Kardashian.
You're wearing apple bottoms, just for the record. You never know these days. I'm just saying. Got to be very clear. I've been going for a little bit. Like.
I ain't trying to judge you, but
I do got on like a salmon colored shirt, so you never know. I gotta clarify. But anyway,
don't do that. Salmon's a good color. But yeah, it's like, man, y'all been squeezing money out of everybody, and you know, I've fallen victim for it because when I see certain posts, I have to be like, comment like, you've got to be kidding me. Y'all doing it again, and y'all falling for it. So
you can't even help it sometimes. If you keep poking the bear, you know, eventually it's going to get up. So like you said with the Kardashians and customizing their bodies, and not even just Kardashians, like it's society. You see somebody Tuesday, and you're like, hey, how you doing? And then you see them Thursday, and I'm like, damn, you ain't had that ass last week. Like, like, god damn, like that's how we giving it up these days. So with that, I'm also like, I think, and I want to get your opinion on it because you, I don't want to say on a smaller scale. I don't mean that, but on like a realistic scale or like a, you know, just plain straight to the point. Like you take like a bride. Your first client was a bride, and like this was her big day, and it was, you know, one shot, you knock it out, you go, you're happy. But I think people are doing this for the rest of their lives. Like a lip kit. At some point you got to get injections. Like at some point you're not going to be wanting to do that shit every day. And like, did you see this pattern come in between like people, like maybe it started with like eyelashes, and because I remember, you know, I'm not going to go into it, but I got some cousins that used to shave the eyebrows off and then draw them back on. And even as a kid, I really never understood that shit. Like I was like, just shape them up, because you know I had hair, so you get a shape up. I'm like, just right. My pops could do that. So I kind of, you see the trends going. Like people are gonna start changing the eye color.
I read an article like maybe last week where women are taking their pictures from Snapchat, like the filtered pictures, to their surgeons.
Oh yeah. That's a fact. I saw that. I read that same thing, and I was like, this shit ain't real. I read.
Yo, me and my fiance
need
was here,
like your
and
sources.
I was like, oh my God. And I don't want to say like I haven't fallen victim to it, because even I've been like, well, damn, I try to keep up with the Joneses. Like, I don't have this dunkadunk, but I don't want that either, because it's not natural. Because then you got to work on your thighs. And it's like, okay, so what if I get this Brazilian butt lift? And my fiance's looking at me like, who are you? And I'm like, yo, I don't even know what's happening to me. And I realize I'm getting caught up in this social media, Instagram world with like, everybody looks the same. Everybody's shopping at Fashion Nova. Everybody's doing the same highlight contour. You know, it's like, oh, I'm so different. No, you're not, because there's 5 other girls with the same purple and green hair right now. Like, nothing that anybody's doing is different. It's crazy, because I sat here all day and watched the Aretha Franklin funeral, and I'm like, we have lost that whole classic, rebellious woman. She could walk into a room and literally have all eyes on her, no matter if she was clothed from the head down or if she had on something scandalous. It was like, where has that gone? Where has the time gone where literally the famous girl on Instagram is the one who's showing her ass?
Yeah. And I think even with her substance, like I listen to It Ain't No Way, and I'm like, damn, like I don't even think that like I can't say all women, and I don't want to generalize, but you know what I mean. Like,
right.
like women coming up, I don't even think they think that way anymore. Like of the way, like you can hear it in certain music and certain things. Like I was listening. I just put it. I was listening to the Nicki Minaj album, and I was just like, yo, if we took away every time she said pussy, like it would be no bars left. I'm like, when did this start happening? Like, where did we go? What happened? But I think it's like,
and my thing with her is, okay, if that was how you came out, which I've known Onika for years.
Oh wait, you know her?
That's not how you started in the game, but I get
you a legend for real. Like,
yeah, she's from Queens and she's from Trinidad. Yes, we have some very close music.
I pieced it together like right after. That's when I was like, oh, you're really a legend. Like,
so it's like, okay, you know, I think on her stage age, I think she might be like 37. I think what they say, but I think she's like 38, 39, because I'm 36, and you haven't changed anything you've talked about since you've come out.
Yeah, facts. That's a fact. That's what gets me.
When you going? Like, can you imagine if Jay-Z was still rapping the same way from like Reasonable Doubt? Like, I'd be retired.
It wouldn't be 20 years in. Like, he wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't work. And I think that's exactly what gets me also. And that's what, because I'm like, damn, you know, like, I'm not saying like I want to see growth. I'm not gonna give you that bullshit, but I'm like, just give me something different. Like, just give me. Let's do another one of those voices or something. Like, let's come up with a new character.
Right. Give me something. Like, I, you know, everybody was like, yo, and I like Cardi.
I was just thinking about Cardi, and I didn't want to make the comparison, but I'm glad you did.
No, because I hate the comparison, but I do like Cardi. So when the album came out, I was like, by that point, I was already over Nicki and the antics and the hating and it was like she was doing the most, but she looked like a sore loser. And I was like, well, look, when the Cardi album came out, I listened to it that day, and I was like, yo, this is actually bumping, like hit after hit after hit. This is a good album. When I heard Nicki did 19 tracks, I was like, oh Lord, I don't know if I could fit 19 tracks of her.
I scrolled down to the time to see how long it was first. Like I saw it, I was like, oh shit, that's
like, well, I can't do this. But I listened to it and I was like, okay, honestly, this is some of her best work she's done in years. Because I stopped long time ago. I think Pink Elephant was still open and I was still listening to her. That's how long ago that was.
Yeah, you took it way back.
Yep. And I was like, yeah, no, there's no substance. Same thing you said. How many times are you gonna say pussy and talk about the same stuff? And it's like, she sounds like the old lady who's trying to keep up, and it's depressing because we're not old. We in our 30s. We in our prime right now.
No, and Hov is like 40. Hov is 49, and I'm still rolling with whatever he says. Like I was just, you know, so I agree with you. Where it's like, damn, like I'm not even saying she has to go full kill a mic and start talking politics. Like, I'm not even saying you gotta do that. Just
don't do it.
Give me some Caribbean tings every once in a while. Like, throw something in there
Word.
besides ganja burn and some weird shit. Some, you know, but and I gotta ask you this also. So, and you brought up Cardi. So I was saying on a podcast before my 3-month hiatus that I didn't want to see the world turn Cardi into a villain after she had a baby, because I was actually thinking about, I'm like, damn, personally, like if her music content didn't change, like, you know how we see Hov and Beyonce with Blue Ivy, you know, and Blue's never seen a ceiling in her whole life, and that stuff was ill to me. But if that, like with Cardi's content, if to see her as a mom, I think that would be mad weird to me to see, like, or even like Nicki Minaj, like to hear her rap about pussy, and I would be like, oh my God, like the kids are gonna hear this, like this is fucked up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I want to see, I want to see like a momentum built for the positive things. Like if you got young girls and young Black girls looking up to you, you don't gotta do this, because this is why there's 10 million twerk videos on Instagram.
Exactly.
And, you know, like I'm like, damn, I didn't even see no graduations this June. I did like, like, where were they? Like, what's wrong with my Instagram feed that I missed good shit? That you gotta stay away from that search bar.
I agree. It's unfortunate right now what we're going through. Like I said, I was sitting here watching this funeral and I was like, damn, like the classiness of just men and women
definitely
is really it's really missing out. You know, I said to my fiance, I was like, well, damn, like we want Beyonce to last a long, long, long time. We want her to go into her 80s and 90s and whatever. But after she passes, like, what's gonna happen? Like, what's a Little Wayne funeral gonna look like?
Yo, chill. Too soon. Where's some wood I can knock on? Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like really,
that actually is that's why that was weird. Because that's actually like a weird, good question. Like, that could be scary or like wonderful. Like,
right.
No in between. Like, it's got to go one way or the other. Like, that got to be a disaster or some ill shit. But you know. But I do have faith. I'm not a total pessimist in the situation, but because there's like there's always one. It's always one person you can look up to. But for some reason, like the human fucking mind gravitates towards the negativity. You know what I mean? Like it takes me. If someone says, "Yo, what bullshit happened?" You can remember it in 2 seconds. But like you're like, how much money did Rihanna raise for schools around the world? And you're like, was it 3 billion? Like, I don't know. Let's Google it. You know what I'm saying? So. I think it's the brain is natural, right. But there'll be hope for. There'll be hopefully Queen Bee is around for another 100 years, but there'll be somebody else after to take over. You know, take over the reins of positivity.
Well, you know, there'll always be one, but yeah, because you always need one. And I mean, I think we were having this conversation today about it, and we have Kendrick, we have J. Cole. It may not be in a suit and a tie. Like, you know, your Martins or your Malcolms or whatever, but we do have some folk out here who's really trying. It's unfortunate that the ones who are making the millions are not the ones that don't have the class. Let me put it that way. Like, I love Jean Grey. I love Rhapsody. They should be up there, and they're not. And I just like Cardi because Cardi keeps it all the way funky. All the way. Yeah, she's been that way.
100%.
Since forever.
That's why I kind of don't want her to change, but I know it'd be weird if she didn't. Like
the industry, either she will jump out of the game because the industry will get her no matter what. And she's on Atlantic. Yeah, the industry's gonna get her no matter what. They will eat her up, and she will either have to get out of the game on her own. And trust me, if she's making them money, her trying to get out will not end well either.
True. Then she'll look sad and pitiful out there.
Make her look crazy. You know, there's a lot of people in this industry who should be where they are, and because of the higher up playing a lot of games and stuff, it makes it tough for them. You know, it's crazy because being in the makeup world or the hair world, the stylist world, you are privy to so much stuff, and you're like, damn, I would never want to be a star.
I'm sure you worked for some pretty notable names. Over the years, obviously, and you don't want to you probably got an NDA somewhere in there, so we don't have to go into specifics. But have you seen? I'm sure you've heard or seen firsthand some crazy shit. Like, 'cause while you're in the makeup chair, Is that when the producers and everybody's running over and they're talking and at it? So what's like one of the craziest things you saw? Like you were like, whoa, should I go? Should I be here right now? Or
one of my craziest stories was, and this is gonna take it way back in the day, but it was making a band with Danny D. Kane. And so it was me and my girlfriend, the makeup artist. We were this. I don't remember if you remember this episode, but it was an episode where they were performing underneath the Brooklyn Bridge, but it was pouring rain.
Wow, that's weird. I do remember that. What year was that? 2002?
Oh my God, 2000.
2004?
Yeah,
that's fucking weird that I remembered that though. That was that's crazy.
It was a really good episode.
I guess it's one of the first like original reality TV shows that I was like, this is crazy, and I was up.
It was a really good show.
Yeah.
His business mind is ridiculous. But so we got the address, and I didn't know this at the time. But when they give you the address for the Brooklyn Bridge, it's the same address on the city side and Brooklyn side, but you have to know the zip code because that's the only thing that changes is the zip code. So we were a little late. It was pouring rain. We got to the wrong end of the bridge and had to go back to the other end of the bridge. And when we got there, I had never, like, Puff had been around taping while we were doing makeup once in a while. You even had a chance to meet him, shake his hand. And if you grew up in New York at a certain time, and if you went to Justin's or anything like that, you might see Puff here and there.
Sure.
That day, I had never seen him so irate and cussing out everybody in the room. So if you've ever seen an episode or if you want to YouTube the episode, there is a part of the show where he is going off on Danny D. Kane. He is going off on the producers of the show. He is going, I mean, people are ducking. People are like, yo, I need to get out of this shot because the camera is zooming around the room. I hit the floor. My girlfriend hit the floor. If you look in the mirror, you might even see my hair or one of us standing up. Like he was going off. And it was like, if I could just slide myself into this wall, that's what I would do. Because Puffy is, like I said, his business mind is ridiculous. He's just a cool dude all around. Like, his mom is amazing and just a sweetheart, and his whole family is super cool. And then to see this monster, because that's what it looked like. It looked like the monster just came up out of him. And I can't even remember what the yelling was for. I think maybe they had missed their keys or like certain note, and he was just over it. And I mean, it was just a hectic day, like shooting in the pouring rain underneath the Brooklyn Bridge. And again, we weren't the only ones that got the wrong addresses. There's people on the Brooklyn side who need to be on the city side. And it was just a hot mess. But to see this man literally, like, it was like his head had spun around.
See, and that's another reason it's crazy, because to see a boss wilding would be one thing. You'd be like, Jesus Christ, like, this is crazy. But to see Puff or P. Diddy like going crazy, or like, hey, that is some.
It was like, oh shit. We need to get out of here. Are we packing up the kit? We done? And it's like, no, you're not done. You still got faces. Oh shoot. So I'm gonna go take a break. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. It was like, what do I need
again, before the internet, when you wouldn't see, now you just put your face in your phone and pretend you didn't. You were doing something else, but then you just stood in there like, oh shit, should I put
Yeah, so that was one of my first where I was like, oh shit, like this is about to get real. And it made for amazing television because it's on TV. That they televised that whole episode.
Do you think people put too much on the internet? Because if it was now, somebody would have recorded that and that would have been TMZ like immediately.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody overshares on the internet, but I've been told I share too much, and I'm just like, well, sometimes I feel like if I'm going through something, somebody else must be going through it too, or I could say something that I'm going through and it helps somebody else. I've been told I've saved many a life by some of my posts. Shoot, I helped somebody not commit suicide 3 weeks ago. So it's been like, it depends on what you're sharing. Like, I don't need to see your ass.
Hey, listen, let them keep doing that. But I'm listening.
Unfortunately, it's like the human way we communicate now, and it ain't gonna change. It's not like people are gonna walk away from their phone no time soon.
No, yeah, you're only going to respect it more because it's only going to get more and more open. Like soon the cameras aren't going to turn off. It's going to be like constantly. But because like you said, and not saying when someone's going through something, but you can always tell, and even you specifically, I remember seeing like a change in your vibe because they're active. Like you are active and not, not in a bad way, but like, you go through a day, with your posts, like sometimes it's funny and other times it's like, damn, that's crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I guess you really do know exactly what a person, like what they're going through, what their life events are or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You can, because on Facebook friends, you get reminded, you're like, damn, you watch kids go from like first grade pictures to graduating high school. And it's like, damn, this is crazy.
Yep.
So
like people laugh, but I'd be like, I got Instagram friends. I got social media friends, people. And it's like people I have not even met. And it's crazy because I went through something traumatic last year. And the people who were reaching out the most were people that I had never met. Sure. Who were just like, look, send me your address. I'm sending you a card, or, I'm just thinking about you and I'm sending prayers. And it was like people that grew up with me were like non-existent. And I'm like, yo, really? This is wild.
Wow.
That people that you only talk to on social media almost every day wants to reach out. Yeah, it's a wild situation. It's unfortunate. Again, there's, for me, pros and cons to the sharing, because I always laugh and I always tell my girlfriend I want to do like an ode to the Roots What They Do video. So to me, social media is a little crazy because it's like you have the yoga girls who like do yoga and they stretch, but they're like booty ass naked, and then they'll put some deep quote at the bottom of their post, and you're like,
nah, I fuck with the yoga chicks, but I never read that quote.
The
like
following or the like.
Yeah, that's a fact. You click, it says more, and then there's mad words. I'm like, yo, that's not what I'm here for. But like, yeah, you on to something with that one. Like,
like, come on. So for me, it's like, oh God, you had the dude who's like, oh, I don't sleep. I'm out here making money. And it's like, dude, if you weren't sleeping, you'd be dead. So let's just cut that. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot. Whereas, like I said, for me, I went through something and I'm actually in the beginning stages of making this a nonprofit now, because I realized with me sharing what was going on with me, that there are a lot of Black women suffering through the same thing. I lost my son, and I was like, okay, so there's no pages for Black women. I guess we don't lose babies neither. I guess only white women lose children. What is going on? So I found, I call her a friend because now we're friends through another mutual social media page. She had put a post that she had lost her son, and she had no one to talk to. So we're just kind of literally messing each other, DMing each other all day. And we had a lot of similar things in common, and she needed someone to talk to. And that was one of the hardest things. When you lose your child, the one thing you need the most is someone to talk to. And sometimes the people that you are supposed to be there for you are not. They're like disappearing in thin air. So I was like, listen, you need somebody to talk to. I'm 3 hours behind. She's in Chicago. Hit me up anytime you want. Like, this girl was hitting me up, and I was like, yo, I know I said hit me up, but what's going on? And I realized she has no one. Like, she can't show any emotion at her job. Her husband's in the army. I'm like, yo. So I would just take a phone call. I said, here's my number. Like, don't even DM me. Call me. And the more we talked, I was like, here's some pages to follow that have helped me get through this. And she was like, this is cool. She said, do you notice? And I said, before you even say it, I know what you're going to say. Do I notice that all these women are white? Yes. I said, there's no pages for us. And I said, we should do something. And lo and behold, we are working on a nonprofit. And to me, this is where social media is like a plus side.
Sure. Yeah. 100%.
I'm not trying to make money off nobody. I'm not showing my whole body on Instagram, or, I'm looking for something that's not there. It's like, there is a whole market, and it's always a market for something. That's what I'm realizing with social media. Like, as much as I want to hate Kylie Jenner, there was a market and it worked. There's a market for people who are hurting, because everybody hurts. It's just what kind of level of hurt are you going through? You could connect with so many people. Like, I people around the world, and it's like, wow, this is really cool. I've gotten jobs like that. Like I've gotten flown overseas to do jobs because somebody saw my picture, and I'm like, how the heck did you see my work? And they're like, oh, a hashtag. Gotta love a hashtag. Yeah, I'll go to where you want me to go out to makeup. Yeah.
So when you went through your traumatic experience of losing your son, did you like it? And you said like the people you know and that were that have your phone number that you grew up with were like a little distant. That is amazing that you could go to social media and like, and even me being in New York, like I remember seeing like, damn, like I was like, like sorry, that's it's just awful. You don't want to see that. And
right.
Because that's what it is. It's because I think social media, like I said, we've been on social media, friends, whatever the label is, since 2010. That's almost a decade gap. So to see that is like, it's almost like if it happened to someone you went to school with or a friend, I'm like, damn, So, but it's good that you could go to social media and get something, and even give back to people and provide a page to other people who are looking for someone to talk to.
Yeah.
So that's all, and give out your. We just talking. And I forget there's listeners here. Give out your. You want to give out your name for your page?
So my makeup page is Shereen at Shereen Nicole. So it's SHEREEN and then Nicole. That's the makeup page, and my website and all that stuff is on there. And then the conversation is the page where I'm kind of starting my own little podcast too with my two girlfriends back in New York. So I'm in Vegas, and we're kind of just filming stuff and conversations, and it's the underscore the conversation underscore. That page is like my baby. It is literally just the conversation. It's like when I get with my girls, we can go from, did you see Serena whoop Venus's ass today, to let's get down to politics, or let's talk about this industry, because I have a chef and I have a photographer and a trainer in the group, and I'm a makeup artist, and we're just out here trying to live our best lives, and we're in our 30s trying to thrive. Yeah, and it's amazing, and we're just hilarious. We're stupid. So it's like, we call the conversation, it's literally a place to heal. It's a place to laugh. It's a place to get some ratchetness in. Some of us are mothers. Some of us are just out here single and willy-nilly, and some of us are getting married, and we're just out here living life. And we realized that, I think, with time, and when we were growing up, the 30s were supposed to be this time when you had everything figured out. You had your whole life ahead of you, and you had your 2.5 kids, and you had your house and your car. And now, at 2018, we're like, we 30-something, we ain't got none of this. What's going on? Some of us still living home with parents. Like, it's just, if you live in New York, you understand what I'm talking about. New York is not cheap, and it's hard out here. So it's like, we are literally trying to break this mold of what we were taught of how life was supposed to be at a certain time. And it's like, no, this is not right. We're going to break this stigma, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to laugh and cry about it. So the conversation is a page that I literally started in my girl's kitchen, crying about my son. And I was like, okay, let me stop crying. What's going on with you? And she was like, well, here's my list. And I was like, no, you are going through it. And she's like, but I didn't want to burden you. She's like, because I didn't want to burden you because you. And I say, are you kidding me? Like, yes, I lost my son. And I mean, no one should have to go through that pain. But I realized while I was going through my life, I had a bunch of girlfriends going through life. And it was like, dang, who are we talking to? Like, if I'm not talking to you, who are you talking to? And it's like, okay, no more. And I filmed one conversation between one girlfriend and I was like, I had to watch this. And I kid you not, this was literally 6 months before the Red Table with Jada Pinkett came out. And I was like, I would watch us. And she was like, yeah, we should do this. And 6 months later, I'm like, are you shitting me? Jada Pinkett already got to it, because that was what it was. It was us sitting at a table in the kitchen, just having talk. Again, I'm gonna stop saying my ideas out loud, because when I do, literally somebody famous comes out and does.
That means you just gotta pull the trigger faster. That means, after you tell somebody, you gotta just fire off a hashtag or something and put it out in the universe.
Something. I have a whole book of stuff that I'm like, okay, I'm working on I have an umbrella, I call it an umbrella that I'm working on, and it just has different levels of things that I want to accomplish within the next 20, 30 years. And I'm like, look, I ain't telling nobody shit. I'm gonna write this shit down because every time I say it out loud, somebody else does it. So yeah, it's something that I'm working on, and we're hoping that we can kind of shoot a video every week and just have people join us, because it's a really
good.
I think what this world needs more than anything right now is just a place to heal. Like this whole entire world is hurting.
Sure, 100%, 100%, and that's good that you're having the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Sure. But listen, thank you very much for coming on the show. I appreciate you. And what time? I don't even know what time it is. And you, I gotta put out there, because you did move to Vegas, and I have to put out there that you're a real one, and you did keep it Triller and keep your 516 number. Like, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm like, wow, you're a real one. You stayed true to your roots. You didn't. Yeah.
I'm so New York out here. They be like, oh my God, how many times are you gonna let us know you from New York? Every time I say I'm from New York.
And why do you have Tim's on? It's 98 degrees.
Hey.
That's bad funny, but listen, Shereen, thank you. And to all my listeners out there, we're back.
Yay! Welcome back.
All Shereen's website information will be in the show notes. Make sure you give a follow to those pages and join the conversation. Have a day you deserve. We're out of here. Listeners, if you're listening in the podcast app, I need you to go rate this. So make sure you search King Bo Christ or search by the podcast name. I say that to say this. Leave a 5-star rating. I don't know, a goat emoji or something, some nice words, and hit send. I appreciate you listening. Thank you.